Well, good morning, church family. I invite you to join us for worship this Sunday at 9 a.m. in our church building. I'm excited to be able to announce that and to invite you. Now, we are also going to be doing our services on Facebook Live as we have for the last couple of months at 9 o'clock and again at 10:45 and later on YouTube. And so you have some options and some choices of when you can gather with us. Let me explain what's gone into the decision for us to begin holding services again. When the state was overturned, the state rulings were overturned by the Supreme Court this week, that left the decisions in the hands of the county health departments and county government officials. And things have been going very well here in Sheboygan County in terms of the metrics, the numbers that they want to see. It's been going very, very well. And so our health department and our local government officials have determined that it is time to start the reopening phases. And there's the plan that they have adopted is very similar to the governor's proposal, 3 phases. And phase 1 began yesterday, Friday. And each phase is going to last a minimum of 2 weeks. And the idea is they want to open it up a little bit, watch the numbers, see what happens, and then make decisions on a week-by-week basis, whether they move forward or back down a little bit. And one of the challenging things for me as a leader and for anybody really is to know what's politics, what's science, and who to believe and who to trust, and what's the right thing to do. Well, this decision has been made by our local officials who have their finger on the pulse of Sheboygan County, the health and the medical infrastructure, and what's happening here locally. And so this is not a decision that we have arrived at ourselves. This is one that is given to us by our local officials. And so what they have said is that organizations like ours can open up at a 25% capacity. The businesses that have been open for the last couple of months have been functioning at that capacity, and that things are going well here in our county. And so they said, okay, let's use that same number. So what that looks like for us at Christian Life is our capacity in our sanctuary is 85 people. Our capacity in our kids' sanctuary is 45 people, and the capacity in our lower level fellowship hall would be 25 people. And so we are going to hold an in-person service in our sanctuary, and should more than the 85 people come, then we will have a Facebook Live gathering. It's the same thing that people can receive at home, but they can be together, and that'll happen in our kids' sanctuary. Now, the recommendations from our county are that people who are over the age of 65, anybody who is medically vulnerable, should still continue to remain home. Now, there may be some of you that don't fit those categories, but you're just not comfortable yet gathering together with the larger group of people. So we are opening up our lower level fellowship hall. It has a completely different entrance, and the rule is that we are establishing is in that location, that part of our building, everybody has to wear a mask. And so it's as safe as we can make it be. And I had an octogenarian in our congregation send me a very kind email this week and said, whenever I can get to Plymouth, I find great comfort in just driving to the north end of our parking lot and in worshiping God and thanking the Lord for a little bit. And I wondered if we could extend our Wi-Fi out to our parking lot. And whereas we have done some things this week to beef up our Wi-Fi, We don't have the technological capabilities of broadcasting beyond the immediate building, and so we just are unable to provide something out in our parking lot. So we're gonna have this gathering, and people say, well, we have a right to gather has been a big issue, and whereas that's true, that's not the basis upon which we're making this. We're making this decision based on the recommendations of the county health department and our local government officials. Now, the truth is, we've been able to gather for worship in a fashion online. It's been quite inadequate, but it's what we've been able to do. And we're not making this decision for financial reasons. Quite honestly, this church family has demonstrated an incredible generosity, a humbling level of generosity throughout this last 8 weeks. We're doing this because it seems to be the right time to begin open up, and then our government will make further decisions on, do we go to other phases, do we back down, or do we just hold the course? So what I want to appeal to you as a church family is to be loving and be respectful. Speaking of relationships with people who are not followers of Christ, in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 2, the Bible talks about that people could be won over by conduct when they see respectful and pure conduct. And that's what I want for our church family. Later on in chapter 3, in verse 15, it talks about sharing our faith and doing it with gentleness and respect. The issue of respect is a pretty huge factor in whether people will listen to our message and will respond to the gospel. And what does concern me about opening up, we're among one of the first churches to open up, I believe. I didn't plan it that way, and I don't really relish that, but it may be what it may be. And so the spotlight could be upon us. People could, perhaps you've seen some of the video clips on the news of the bars in Sheboygan County that have opened up, and you've got an owner of the bar saying, we're respecting the guidelines and social distancing, and then you look behind them in the picture and people are face to face in that setting. I don't want us to do something that brings discredit to the gospel, that brings discredit to our church, and so I'm imploring you as a church family, follow the social distancing guidelines. As we will have people in our building who know the numbers of people that can be in certain parts of our lobby and connector, and so they may approach you and say, would you move this conversation over there? But please respect the social distancing guidelines. I'm excited about the opportunity for us to gather together again. It's been a long couple of months, but I'm also excited about the content of what we're going to be able to share in our services tomorrow. We have a testimony of a young girl who God has done some miraculous things in her life, and she has defied the medical odds and is a thriving, loving young lady, and we're going to hear the testimony from her mother. We also are going to have an international pastor from North Africa sharing with us via Zoom in our service, and you can read between the lines on that, but Bill's sharing what God is doing in that part of the world. It's a ministry partner of ours, and since our ministry partners are so important and critical to us, we want to be able to celebrate that and receive an offering to help support that and pray with them. So please join us tomorrow morning. If you have any questions, you can contact me by text, by phone. My number is 920-838-2115. And I look forward to reconnecting with you personally tomorrow. God bless.